What I say, we all got a story, just how bad you want to tell it. We all have a story. We all got a unique perspective in life. We all been through some things that could show somebody else how to go through them, and it's a unique experience of how we lived our life, and it could be important to somebody else that may not have went through that yet. Somebody younger than you, somebody older than you that just may not have crossed that path of life just yet. And being a creative, you have to be willing to tell your story. And I think that's the whole concept of me doing this show. Just being willing to tell my story, understanding that where I've been and how far I've came can be beneficial to somebody else out there that's looking to do something in their life, or of course spark that brain, spark that motivation, that inspiration to help somebody to one day get to where they're trying to go. And I feel like that's kind of my whole motivation behind this show. And as a creative, I heard Amos Wilson say one time, man creates how God creates. First through the word, then through symbols, and then they take those symbols and they bring the resources together to make that visualization that they had in their head a reality. When God created the world, first came the word. So just like you have an idea, first the idea hits your brain, then you write that idea down. Then you start to build the pieces to bring that idea to life. I know it's like this house that I live in, this community, this city was once an idea in somebody's brain. It was once a concept. Then they wrote it down. Then they said, okay, house right here, building right here, school right here, hospital right, bank right here, grocery store right here. And then they started to bring the pieces together to bring it into reality. We all have that great power, that innate ability to create in that way because we were made in the image. And always understand that being a creative, those ideas gonna always hit your brain, but it's the concept of bringing that into reality that is most important. So always understand the word come first. Speak it into existence. You got an idea, you can visualize it, come up with that concept, and you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to, and that sounds cliche, but most things that are real in this world are cliche. So I was talking to my homie the other day, and we talking actually about this show, about this podcast, and I'm telling him what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, provide some information that a lot of people may not be privy to, or a lot of people just may not be connected to. Maybe this information either eludes them, or maybe they just don't run in the circles where the information is given, where the truth is given, especially in this internet age. And when I was telling them about the concept of the show, what they said was they're not gonna listen anyway. And it kind of took me back for a second, because it had me thinking, like, that's not really what I do it for. That's not the reason why I do it. And if you do anything for a reward, or if you do something good, so people will be like, yo, T that dude, or oh yeah, you solid dude. What if they don't say that? If when you're doing it for a reward, or you're doing it for a certain type of feedback, you're never gonna get what you expect. So you really gotta do it for yourself and for the people in a way that, regardless of how they receive it, you know that you gave the best information that you could. It's like that saying, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around, does it make a sound? Well, that don't matter unless you're the tree. So me being the person that's actually doing it, of course, when I do it, there's a reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. But we also discount time when we talk about that certain analogy, because let's say a year down the line, somebody's walking through that forest or that trail where that tree fell. They will notice that tree fell, even if nobody heard it in that time. I remember Pac said, I'm not saying that I'm going to be the one that changes the world, but I guarantee that I sparked the brain that will one day change the world. And when you do it for that reason, and you do it from that context, you know that you're not doing this in vain, or you're not doing it for no reason. If people don't get it right now, they'll get it one day. It's like there's so many great people in history that their work was never appreciated until after they were gone or later in life, like Van Gogh. When you look at his paintings, he didn't really sell any paintings. He lived in poverty until he was old, and then after he dies, his paintings sell for millions of dollars. It's like Tesla, who we literally drive in Teslas, the Cybertruck, all these cars all the time, and all of our different technologies are built off of his electrical principles, and he wasn't appreciated in his day. But that don't mean that he didn't go in and do the work. If he would have said, oh, y'all ain't appreciating me, I'm done, then we would have never got that work. We would have never been able to appreciate what he was doing. So if I can save one person, if I could reach one person, if one person can be like, yo, T, this episode really got to me, or this, what you doing is really important, then that's enough for me. I'm not doing it for nobody to big me up. I'm not doing it for attention. It's just my thoughts and what I want to give the world. It's my gift. It's my offering. So that's kind of the reason why I do it. And sometimes you're just not going to be appreciated. And sometimes you got to just find your audience in different places. It's like Jesus wasn't even appreciated in his hometown. So you got to find where you go, where your audience is at. And you can't be that person that says, oh, they not messing with me, so I ain't going to do it. You got to have self-worth, and confidence is important in that aspect. And I'm a global citizen. That's why I bring it to the internet. There's always somebody out there that's going to be able to get something from it. Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's not tomorrow. Maybe one day somebody opens this and it was really what they needed. It was really the information. It was really the game, the motivation that they needed. So that's the reason that I do it. And that's why I say traveling is so important in your life. You got to expand your boundaries. You got to open up your mind and move around a little bit. And because there's people out there that need what you got. So don't get caught up on those that first, if the word first hit their ears, and it might not be for them, but don't get caught up on that. If that game is real and that game is authentic, one day it's gonna come to pass, and somebody gonna live life off of it, and somebody gonna make a killing off what you're doing. So that's actually just the first thing I wanted to talk about. What we do it for, why we do it, and if it's not gonna be appreciated, why do we do it? We do it because this is our offering. This is my gift to the world. This is what I'm privy to give you in this moment. This is what the Spirit hit me and told me to tell y'all. So that's the first thing we're gonna talk about today, is that. The next topic I want to hit on is a concept I've been working on for a while now. Just been thinking about this. It's the concept of the sick physician. It's that doctor that still has to go into work and heal people even though he doesn't feel well himself. And in life, you're never 100%. It's like you don't want to get up and go to work every day. But sometimes you still got to fight through whatever temptation or whatever you going through and still show up. It's like I was a college athlete, and I can tell you firsthand, you never feel 100% during the season. I know a lot of athletes, they never feel like they're 100%. So, I mean, you have to play hurt, and you got to know the difference between playing hurt and playing injured. Because sometimes there's something going on you can't play, you know? Sometimes you can't go to work. You shouldn't be there. But there's other times where you just hurt, and you have to understand that you have to keep fighting through it. And in life, there's times where I know sometimes we say that, oh, once I'm got this amount of money, I'm gonna do this, or once I'm at this point, I want to do this. And in the book, The Way of the Superior Man, there's a place in the book where he's talking about how stop waiting for a completion of anything in life. You have to do exactly what you want to do now. There's really no concept or no aspect of the past or the future. It's only the present. So what you're doing in the present is going to be what you are able to do in the future. So your present is your future. So stop waiting for a completion of anything in life. And if you're waiting to get this amount of money, you have to declare your success. You have to say that I'm successful. I know that there's more to do. I know in my life, like, I got a lot more goals that I want to hit. However, I'm declaring my success. You got to operate from a place of the defending champion, you know? And then next year you have to say, next year I want to repeat. But if I don't repeat, I know that I got it in me to win a championship. It's like LeBron, 40 years old. He won championships years ago, and every time he make the playoffs, he's still a threat. Everybody like, Lakers might go all, you know what I'm saying? Lakers might go all the way this year. Lakers be having old cats in the lineup. They ain't got no chance of winning the championship, but LeBron's on that team. He's done it before, so people give him that credit, and you got to give yourself that credit that I'm successful. Declare your success, especially when you talk about where you come from. Because sometimes we define success by looking at other people, and that's not the way you define your success. You got to define your success by where you came from my environment, how far I've gotten in my life. I'm successful. You got to declare your success, operate from the place of defending champion, know that you can do it again, and keep pushing, man. So the sixth position, regardless of what's going on in your life, sometimes you got to fight through. Sometimes you don't want to go to work. Sometimes you don't want to get up, and sometimes you don't want to do these podcasts. That's called resistance. There's actually a book called The War of Art, which is an amazing book I recommend to anybody, where it talks about resistance as a spiritual force that keeps you from doing what you really want to do and what you're passionate about. It keeps you from writing that book. It keeps you from going to the gym. It keeps you from expressing yourself and doing better in life, because there's always a force that's there to tell you that either you're not good enough or I'm tired, and you have to be able to fight off resistance and put your armor on and get to it. So that's the second thing we're gonna talk about, that is resistance and being able to operate out of a place of discomfort, regardless of how you feel. You got to get to it. Alright, next concept I want to talk about is real food tastes fake and fake food tastes real. When you fed something over and over again, you begin to not be able to decipher between what's good for you and what's bad for you. And I feel like the internet is a great example of that, because so many people giving the same game out that they heard. They're just regurgitating the same game over and over again, and people are taking it as law. And especially like in relationships and things of that nature, people giving advice that may not work for you. And when a lie is told over and over again, you start to believe it. It's like during the Vietnam War, they had this war camp over there where they were holding soldiers hostage and they were torturing them. And even when the war was over, these people never left the station where they were at. They were still in the camps, even though there were no officers there to keep them in the camps. And it's like psychology. A good documentary to watch on that type of psychology is a documentary by Adam Curtis. It's called The Age of Self. And it talks about how this guy named Edward Bernays was a master of psychology. Actually, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, if you ever took a psychology class. And he talked about how he was able to get women to start smoking cigarettes just by saying that there's power in it. And just by using psychology to undermine people by saying the same lie over and over and over again. And I feel like on the internet, that's dangerous, because not only is that lie being told, but people are agreeing with it. People making it law. You look down in the comments, people like, oh, that's facts, big facts. Oh, I dealt with that, and a lot of people may have dealt with it. That may be a lot of people's situation, but when you go to apply it to your life, it don't work. We got to be able to separate reality from the internet, and it's a new age, so we don't really understand how different these things are and how hurtful it can be. And we get bad advice in our real life as well, but in our own communities, it's a lot easier to decipher it because it's just one person giving it. But when you're hearing it over and over again, it's hard to be like, oh, that's cap. That's cap. It's funny. That money look funny when you hold it up to the light. And we got to be able to decipher those two things. But like I was saying, like in relationships, people telling you what to look for, what type. If he do this, he ain't the right one. If she do this, you know what I'm saying, like, that's your experience. And I think the internet is all about opinion. It's all about people's perspectives, and I feel like we don't take it like that. We take it as law, and then we start to operate on an internet wavelength, and that ain't how the real world works, and that be leaving us lost. We're leaving us stuck in a lot of cases. And I know we have a lot of bad advice as men, I know we were told our whole life, as far as like on the internet, they talk about how they make you praise like Future, great rapper, great artist. However, and they like, it's like the Travis Hunter situation. They said Travis Hunter needs to go talk to Future. Future got like 10 kids by like, I don't know how many different women, maybe 5 or 6. That's not the goal for a young man that's trying to get his bag straight. That ain't the goal. But in these internet streets, we take that as law, and like, this is not something that you can't operate off that. With the music, the real food tastes fake. The good music in this generation feels whack, because it don't got the 808s, or it ain't talking about tearing down somebody or messing with somebody's girl or doing drugs and stuff like that. It sounds fake. And the real music sounds fake, and then that music sounds real. So we take that as law instead of the music that's really gonna push us forward. And you gotta know the difference between that nutritional music and that music that's not gonna get you nowhere. That music that you're listening to for a vibe and those type of things. But it's like when you eating out every day. The food that you cook at home, it don't taste the same. It don't hit the same. When you eat McDonald's, you think McDonald's is real food, when in all actuality it's killing you. So real food tastes fake, fake food tastes real. Be able to decipher between the two. This next one we're gonna talk about is actually from one of my favorite movies of all time, cult classic. Everybody know this movie, Friday. It's that scene where Craig talking to Smokey and he say, "That's your problem. You walk around these streets all day playing. Ain't nobody playing but you. Ain't nobody playing but you. There's people out there that's not as talented as you, that's not as well versed as you, that aren't better than you, that's doing what you want to do in your life. And it's because we not taking things seriously." I remember, right now I'm about to be actually 35 years old here in a few weeks. And I remember I was just 21. I feel like I just turned 21 a couple weeks ago. That's how I feel. Like, life goes that fast. And if you don't grab the helm of life and start to control your life, then it'll control it for you. It's like it'll be on auto drive. You don't want your life on auto drive. You want to be able to control your life. And I feel like in different cultures, it's like the guy on Twitter just said, I think yesterday, he was talking about how American culture has conditioned us to not be competitive, and to see people that are seeking knowledge and people that are trying to be masters of their craft as the unpopular person. And I've seen that firsthand. It's like in high school, like, being smart in certain communities is seen as a bad thing. Like the women don't want somebody that's doing their homework almost. It's like, it's weird. Like it's backwards. Same thing with the fake food tastes real. It's the same thing. Like, this society is conditioning us to see things that are popular that may not be beneficial to people, and it's not really pushing the culture forward. And I feel like a lot of that is because people aren't out here taking it serious. When we talk about being able to decipher between the two, you got to take your time to do your research, and you got to take the time to sit down and hunker down and get that work done. We on the phone all day, you scrolling. It's a good book called what's that book? Cal Newport got a book where he talks about limiting your time on the phone. I forgot the exact name of the book, but being on the phone all day and not really focused on no specific task. And when we not serious about life, like, life is a game, but it's competitive, and there's winners and losers. Somebody gotta lose for you to run it up, somebody is gonna be winners and losers. You gotta take this thing serious, and if you really want to get to where you want to get in life, you don't have time to waste. Life is short. You got a very finite time to be in this world. You got to use that time wisely, and you got to really get focused on your goals. If you want to master something, or if you want to do something in life, like I was saying earlier, you got to do it now. You got to get to it. And I feel like we play a lot. We waste a lot of time playing and not doing what we're supposed to do. So that's another concept I wanted to talk about is Ain't nobody playing but you. It's people out here it's young people younger than you out here buying houses and buying businesses and just doing a lot of things that you want to do. Everything you want in your life, people are doing, but you not doing because you playing. Stop playing. Stop playing with yourself. Get up, dust yourself off, get out here in these streets and put that work in, man. Get to work. We got to get to work. And yeah, that's that. Last thing I want to touch on is an analogy that I created recently, which was like a year ago, talking to my homie on the phone. We kind of was just talking about life and how we can really compare life and how we operate through the generations of our families like the 4x1 in track. That first leg could have been your grandpa, could have been your ancestor, could have been your dad, you know. That first leg, either you get a lead or you behind. But it's your job when you get the baton to either make up the difference or get a lead for when you pass it to your children, you know. So the concept of the 4x1, we are in a race, and sometimes we may start behind. Sometimes, like especially when you come from maybe a disenfranchised community, they might have started 20 meters ahead of you. But you got to be able to make up that difference. And if you can't make up the difference, you at least want to get it back to a point to where when you pass the baton to your offspring, that they able to catch up, you know, or they able to get into a position where we can get on the podium. So when we talk about legacy and what you want to bring, like maybe your grandfather or maybe your pops didn't have the same opportunity as you, but now you have an opportunity to push this family, this legacy, this lineage forward. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it? You gonna stay in the back? You gonna lose? Because sometimes we can lose steam. Your pops might have gave you the baton with the lead, and you got hawked down, you know. So legacy. When we talk about the 4x1, we talk about legacy. We talk about being that person that sets the standard, sets the pace for your family. So you kind of got to decide of what parts you want to play within this 4x1 team. Yeah, that's pretty much all we want to talk about today. We're going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody for listening to the last episode. It's just stuff that I see, you know what I'm saying, looking out my window. And so that's what this is about. But we out of here, man. We gone. Toledo, Hopefield Radio. Stay tuned. New episodes coming. We're going to keep this going. Alrighty. We out. One.